Hi, and welcome back to Musicians Edition Practice with me for Flute. I'm your teacher, Reesa, and today we're working in the Rubank Intermediate Method for a flute. And today we're on page 38. We're going to be looking at something new today. So first off, let's talk about it. So we have this weird looking symbol, okay? It's almost like a fancy sideways S. Looks like this, okay? That is the gruppetto, or turn. Now, some people have mentioned in some of my other videos that my Italian is bad. I do not know Italian, and a lot of my teachers they didn't really say the term, so I wasn't used to hearing them. Okay, so if I said it wrong, I apologize. But from what I heard, it sounds like gruppetto, okay, or turn. And what it means is we're going to be running a few notes together. So depending on the length of it, it just might be usually some form of a 16th run, okay? It goes up a note, down 2 notes, back up to the note we were on, okay? So if we look at exercise 1, it gives us a good, clear example. It shows the way it's written with the gruppetto. I'm gonna just say turn in case I'm saying it wrong. Has the turn symbol, okay? And on the bottom, it shows how we play it, okay? So why don't we play the bottom part of one so we can hear what it sounds like, and then we're gonna play it looking at the top part so we can get used to playing it but seeing it with the turn symbol. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a play. Ready? So look at the bottom part. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, okay? And so usually when the turn is used, it's also slurred as well, so keep that in mind, okay? Now we're gonna look at the top part. We're gonna actually read it with the turn. Before we read it though, let's take a look. Measure 2 and measure 3, you see the gruppetto sign? And right underneath it has a sharp symbol. The sharp symbol is usually in reference to the 3rd note. So when we look down below, the 3rd note of the turn is the D sharp. Okay, the next measure, the 3rd note of the turn is F sharp, and it has the sharp marked right underneath the gruppetto sign. Okay, so if it has that in there, then you need to sharp the 3rd note. Can be the same for flats too, just throughout today's exercise, we're only working with sharps. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna play the top line. Only look at the top line though, okay? And try to remember what we had. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. If you didn't get it, this takes some people usually a little while to learn because it's looking at something entirely different and putting something to it. So what you could do on your own time, and this is what I recommend doing since we don't have all the time in the world today, is what I want you to do is just get used to that run. Okay? And when you're doing that, look at the turn symbol. Okay? And even just break it down measure by measure, since not all of them are going to be the same. You know, or even just keep it to, and then move on to the next one. You just need to go really slowly and get used to the motion of up, down, down, up. Okay? Let's do it one more time, looking at line 1 and do your best still, okay? And we're gonna just play it. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Once again, that may take a little time to get used to, so make sure you practice that and make sure you practice looking at it with the sign, so then you can compute what the sign is. All right, we have to move on though.
This lesson is brought to you by the Musicians Edition practice book. Make goals and keep track of progress throughout the whole year. When you're done with this video lesson, don't forget to mark this practice time in your Musician's Edition practice book. Now back to the video.
So on to exercise 2. Okay, our rhythms have changed a little bit. So before we had the half note going into quarters. Now we have quarters going into quarters. And surprisingly, it's going to feel like we're doing more because we're still fitting 16th runs of, we're still fitting 16th runs in there. But we have a shorter amount of time, so it looks like it's more. Okay, so same thing. We just have the 16th runs as the gruppetto. We do have the sharps in there, so take note who is sharp, okay, and who's not sharp. All right. Let's go ahead and give this a try. We still have B flat. I forgot to mention that last exercise is that we're on flats. B flat still here. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, it very much feels like it's a lot more. Okay, sometimes, since it's a gruppetto, you're not really going to see those lines, but since we're learning, just to make sure that everything's still on the beats, you could still write them in where they are, okay? Might get a little funky here where they actually land. So let's see, 1, and 2, and okay? And then, now let's look at the top. We're going to see the gruppetto sign, circle in where those sharps are. Okay, it still lands on the 3rd note, F sharps. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And also don't forget on second measure, that is E natural. And I know that can be a little rough. You might need to just slow that down so you can clean that up, just like that. Okay, and then start speeding it up. And you could do that for any of them that you might be struggling with it. Just slow it down to where you can get it. Okay, and you might need to do that even just for getting used to seeing the gruppetto sign. So let's do it one more time, looking at the top. Maybe we'll slow it down even like that. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. So make sure you take that time to slow those down, clean it up, and then get used to seeing the gruppetto sign as well. Because coming up next in exercise 3 in that etude, we no longer see the way it's written, so we need to know what it is. Okay, so we do have a couple new notes with the gruppettos in this one, so let's take a look, okay? The Fs we did, F, F, we did Gs, okay? When we get to that A, so it's the first measure on line 2, we have a sharp marked in here, okay? And I don't think we've started on A. So we're gonna go A, B flat, because this is still in flat. Back down to A, and then G sharp, back up to A. Okay, so that one might be a little challenging there. So let's just play that one, starting from the A. Okay, so that's what that one's going to be, okay? We also haven't done B in the following measure. That one does not have a sharp marked in, so it's going to be B, or B flat, C, B, A, back to B. Okay, and the ending on F, which we've done. So now that we've kind of clicked in, we're not, be like, oh my God, what was this? Let's go ahead and play this as a whole. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. right, excellent job. Let's actually slow that down a little bit. Yeah, let's slow that down. I know I have a tendency to sometimes do those gruppettos a little faster, but yeah, let's slow down. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. And same thing, if you need to take it slower at any point, so maybe you're having a hard time with that A gruppetto, just do it like that. And then just start speeding it up. All right. All right, so now we're gonna get a little more complicated with our rhythms here. Moving on to exercise 4. First off, we've lost the B flat, just for a note, okay? Everything's natural, except for where the gruppetto tells us where the sharps are, okay? So now we have the dotted quarter gruppettoing into the 8th note. Look at the rhythms here. It's a little more challenging, okay? So we still have the 16th runs, okay? Okay, but now it still has to come up to the C, or the first note we started on. So now it's going to be broken down into an 8th. So we have the 4/16 to 8 to 8. Okay? Okay, so this gets a little more challenging and might take up a lot more thinking power as we're learning it, okay? We do have a sharp in the gruppetto on measure 2 and measure 4, so that would put our sharp note as a C sharp, okay? Now, something I don't think we've talked about or mentioned before is that when the sharp is marked on the gruppetto, it's marked or treated differently than an accidental. So that means our C following the gruppetto is a C natural. It is not going to be a C sharp, okay? So let's go ahead and give this a try, playing it as played. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. So with this one, since it looks a little messier as played, we kind of want to know where we're hitting on those beats. So even though the counting is marked on the bottom, I still like to write a dash through my notes on which ones the beats land on. Okay, and that just helps me visually know where I'm supposed to be, okay? So let's go ahead and play one more time, looking at the as played. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. That one you might have to like slow down to really comprehend as well. So, and then like speed it up, okay? It's also important, in my opinion, is to like see the way it's played and then make sure you keep looking at the gruppetto because you need to know, because just like our other etude, we do have an etude coming up where it doesn't have the as written marked in, and we need to know how to play that gruppetto without seeing it written as played. Okay, so now let's play it as written. So look at the top part. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. Let's try slowing that down just a little bit. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So that might be a little easier to start with and then speed it up, and especially when you're trying to get used to reading the sign. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our exercise number 5, the etude, okay? Now there's kind of a lot happening here too. We have a lot more of the gruppettos in here, and we have different notes that might be starting on, okay? One area we need to look at is line 2, measure 2. We have 2 gruppettos in one measure, okay? So let's first take a look at that. There is the sharp marked in the first one. So C sharp. The next one. Now remember, with gruppettos, the sharp is only applicable to that gruppetto. It's not treated like an accidental. So that means for the second gruppetto, the C is back to natural. Okay? Got it. Okay. So that's where it may get a little tricky. So just take note. The first gruppetto has the C sharp. The second one is C natural. I think that's the only one that's like that. Okay, we do have the gruppettos in the higher register. The gruppettos can go on low registers, high registers. They can start on any note they want. They can be sharps, they can be flats, whatever. Okay, so in the third line, we do have it in the higher register. Okay, so keep that in mind. It throws throws them off, especially when they're first sight reading it. Nobody likes sight reading stuff like this. All right, so let's take this nice and slow. We'll give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. So I'm not gonna make us do that one a billion times because I already know there's probably some spots you need to just slow down and work that section out. So like measure 2 on line 2 with that D, with the sharp. Okay, that's probably an area you're gonna have to start with and take it that slow if need be, just to get it, and then start speeding it up and cleaning it up. Do that for any spot that you're struggling with, okay? And then make sure you still continue to put it together. That way everything can still be like with the pulse and constant, okay? All right, and that's all we have for today. Something entirely new. Take your time, slow things down, work it out. All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, notify, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our practices. Thanks for joining, and until next time.